I probably should have put this one first, honestly. It's really foundational. But you know what? That's okay. Things happen. Frame data. Today we're going to talk about frame data. It's something that's applicable not only to Absolver, but to fighting games as a whole. Frame data is essential in your understanding of pressure and what it takes to keep your opponent on the back foot. Now, frame data is just that. It's data. It's a game of numbers. It's a simple system of additives. Well, let's say you land a hit. The frame data and some simple math will let you know what follow-up moves are safe and what follow-up moves are not. Now, frame data works by giving you an advantage number. This number is used to express how many frames ahead of your opponent you are. Now, it should be noted that Absolver's frame data is listed in 30 frames per second. Don't ask me why. It's a decision that was made, and it's how we're going to reference frames here, okay? So if I say 3 frames per second in 60 FPS, it means 6 frames per second, okay? Just keep in mind that normally a fighting game deals in 60 frames per second and gives frame data in that regard. So let's take a very obvious example and use a guard break, like front kick. Front kick is a pretty good move. You can see here it has these two numbers, advantage on hit and advantage on guard. They pretty much mean what they say. If I hit someone with a front kick, I am granted 12 frames of advantage. Another way to put this is that I am plus 12. If I hit someone with a front kick and they're blocking, they'll eat a bunch of stamina damage, sure, but more than that, I'm still plus 12. And any option they have is now delayed by those 12 frames. We can do some simple math to figure out what we can do when we have advantage. Let's say I have a sequence of cleaver blow into side kick. Cleaver blow is plus 10 on hit and plus 4 on block, meaning if I hit with it, my follow-up move, side kick, which is 17 frames, is now effectively reduced to 7 frames, 17 minus 10, because my opponent is unable to act during those 10 frames. By the time they're able to act, I will be 7 frames away from my side kick hitting them. The fastest moves in vanilla Absolver are 10 frames, and the fastest moves in Absolver Plus are 12 frames. If my sidekick is effectively 7 frames, there is no attack my opponent can throw out in time to beat my next attack. But if my cleaver blow hits their block, I am now plus 4, meaning my follow-up sidekick is effectively 17 minus 4, which is 13 frames. This means that I can be jabbed out of my sidekick before it has time to land. This is something we would call unsafe on block. However, getting around this is easy because we have an alternate attack. So as long as my attack on someone's guard can get me enough advantage to make my next move jab-proof, I have a safe way to continue my pressure. Jar Bash is an excellent pairing here because it's 14 frames, meaning plus 4 on block from cleaver will get me down to an effective 10-frame Jar Bash. In plus, this is perfectly jab safe. In vanilla, you might get some trading behavior every once in a while. But it's all just math. The paradigm is take your advantage number, subtract it from the startup of the next move you want to use, and let that inform how you build your pressure. A quick note though, as I've said, Absolver is a game where you always have options. Using the style ability has a startup of 3 frames, meaning most moves will not grant you enough advantage to prevent your opponent from using their style ability. Something like front kick, which grants plus 12, will though. Any 14 frame that comes after that is effectively 2 frames, meaning if they do anything except block, they're getting hit by the follow-up. General guidelines on move types are as follows. Guard breaks grant the same hit and block stun. They're excellent tools for leading into heavier moves in a jab-safe way. Heavy moves generally grant a large advantage on hit and a modest advantage on block. Charge breakers grant generous hit and block advantage, but not as generous as guard breaks. Medium moves are a lot of this player base's bread and butter. They offer a workable advantage on hit and a workable advantage on guard. This can change based on other properties like startup time and horizontal versus thrust attack categories. Light moves give a small advantage on hit, and usually 0 to 2 frames on block. Very few moves are negative on block, but they do exist. Advantage is a concept that is essential to any fighting game, especially Absolver. Frame data is the thing that good decks are built off of. Once again, you're gonna ask me, why do I care?
We were just talking.
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
Right in,
Shut the fuck up.
Talking nonsense.
Well, you care because without frame data, you're building decks for babies.
You dumb idiot. You stupid savage. You're not the alpha here, you crusty-ass fool.
You're building decks that don't take full advantage of pressure. If you build a deck that relies entirely on speed, you're missing out on a large part of what makes Absolver's deck building system compelling. Good application of frame data means using the advantage of one move to ladder higher into slower, more methodical, punishing moves. It's something that gives a win in neutral potential to turn your pressure into an HP-destroying machine if your opponent doesn't respect your numbers. At a low level, you can expect people to continue mashing their attack buttons between your attacks to try and interrupt you. And as long as you're gold linking, and as long as the numbers agree with you, you're uninterruptible. Your opponent will have to stop your pressure by using their defensive move, or they'll have to spend shards in order to launch a power to interrupt you. Both of these scenarios are technically favorable in that your opponent has to use their brain to prevent you from running away with their health bar. Ultimately, frame data is what will guide a solid deck. Every high-level Absolver player you've heard of understands this concept, and as a result, their decks handle the concept of being jab safe in a relatively consistent manner. The only time you should ever lead into a move that's slower than your advantage grants you is as a mix-up. Throwing an unsafe 19 frame instead of a safe 12 frame only works when you've successfully conditioned your opponent to not attack you between your moves, creating a game of, are you going to use your defensive, or are you going to try and jab out? Frame data is everything when it comes to knowing how to bring a world of pain. Build your decks with this in mind. See you out there, Absolvers. This has been Fundies.